Friends, Greg Newmaster coming at you again with another action figure review. Today I have Medicom Mafex Superman from the Hush graphic novel or comic book series from DC Comics. I'm a huge Superman fan. Superman was the first for me. I can remember watching. I guess my first experience was my uncle bought me uh, a tape of the old Fleischer animated series of Superman, and it just blew my mind. It was incredible. The animation was slick, and it was just awesome. It was very reminiscent of classic Disney. Uh, it reminded me of Disney's first few films, like Snow White and Sleeping Beauty. Uh, just that level of polish, and it was like the old serials on the radio, and it was just executed so well, and it looked so good. And as a kid, I saw that, and I mean, what kid didn't see Superman and want to be like him? To fly, to have super strength, to have heat vision, super senses, just anything a kid would want. Like that's the doorway into superheroes is Superman, and fittingly because he was the first. He is the archetype of modern American mythology. That's Clark Kal-El from the planet Krypton, who escaped on a rocket ship because his planet was doomed. So his benevolent father Jor-El sent him here along with his mother Laura, and then he was raised in Kansas by the Kents, and just such a beautiful symbol of America, of heroism, of virtue and goodness. Granted, as time went on, everything had to be dark and gritty, and comic book writers had always, people just aren't satisfied with a virtuous, good character because they consider that boring. But I don't consider that boring because there are people in human history who lived virtuous lives and heroic lives, and they didn't have to be flawed and compromised to be a great hero and person. And that's what Superman stands for. And furthermore executed in the 70s films Superman portrayed by Christopher Reeves. To many people, Christopher Reeves is he is Superman. He is the iconic Superman, and they've been trying to catch that ever since and capture that spirit of Superman, and they just keep failing. So I love Superman. Enough on that. A little bit about Jim Lee. So this is from the Batman Hush comic book series, and a few words on Jim Lee as well. Jim Lee, very famous Marvel Comics artist, very famous DC Comics artist, very famous Image Comics artist. Honestly, there were two. If you grew up in the 90s, there were two comic book artists that just stood out. It was Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee. Like, they were it in the 90s. Granted, there were other great comic book artists, but it was Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane. And Jim Lee became famous from X-Men. And, the iconic 90s X-Men and those costumes, the first major redesign of their costumes, that was all Jim Lee. And he was just phenomenal. One of my all-time favorite comic book artists. Just beautiful, beautiful artwork. Just the anatomy of how he drew superheroes. Obviously, straps and pouches was a big thing to him, and especially Rob Liefeld in the 90s. But, I mean, just iconic artwork. So, when he did Batman Hush, it was just, it sold very well because obviously he was drawing it. And then, sorry about that. Then he went on to draw Superman for a time. And now currently Jim Lee is the head of DC Comics. So, I mean, there's just some of his beautiful artwork. And that's what this action figure is based on. I mean, just like, look at that. Look at how epic and just beautiful it is. He's just such a fantastic artist. I just love his work. I just can't go on and on about that. You know, how wonderful of an artist he is. Like, look at that. Just beautiful, beautiful artwork. So that's what this figure is based on. That's what the Hush series is based on. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Because Jim Lee is the man. And I'm so excited for this figure. I've been waiting forever for him, for the Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse figures. Finally just got them. So I'm getting Superman as well. So hopefully if you haven't gotten yours yet, you guys have received him. So let's do this review, man. I've just been dying to open this figure. There's the front of the package. Batman Hush. Nice, awesome picture of Soups. There's the side. There is the back. He's got poison ivies, I guess plants and vines and roots all over him because he's mind controlled in the Hush series. There's that side. There's the top, and there is the bottom. Make sure it always has that metallic sticker on it, hologram sticker, because if not, it's probably a fake. So I'm opening this with you guys. We will experience this together. So I'm sorry if the review is kind of clunky. If I make mistakes, I just like to experience this with you guys. The joy of action figures. So, you know, I think Mafex, honestly, they make the best. Oh, look at that on the inside of the box. Just Jim Lee artwork right there. That's really cool. I just noticed that. But anyhow, I think Mafex, they make the best superhero action figures. Better than Marvel Legends, better than SH Figure Arts. They are the best, in my opinion. Their sculpts are spot on. The articulation is phenomenal. The integration of soft goods with the hard plastic, the wired capes, the wired clothing, just the crazy amount of accessories, and of course the scale, which I love. So I just can't rave or say enough good things about Mafex. They are my favorite, and it's such a. Pixel Dan was saying this the other day. Shout out to Pixel Dan, phenomenal channel, great reviewer. You know, he was just saying what a time it is to be alive to collect action figures because, you know, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, like, you know, you've been dying for figures like these your whole life. And it's actually kind of overwhelming right now because there's so much coming out and it can be very pricey. But what a great time to be alive to collect action figures. So there is the traditional plastic stand that all Mafex figures come with. Nothing to really show, so I'm not going to open that for you guys. So I'm going to try and open this plastic without all the pieces going all over the place, which is normally what happens. There's just, they give you so many accessories that it just falls all over the place. But I just gently open that. By the way, this figure is going from $90 to the secondary market, you know, to a couple $100. So get yours while you can so it doesn't become crazy expensive. So I'm just going to try and support this here so all the pieces don't go all over the place. But anyhow, look at all the different hands you get. So this isn't as excessive as the Spider-Man figures have been with the hand poses. So we get 2 flat hands, we get 2 open hands, another pair of open hands, and some punching hands. Wait a minute. Well, that's kind of odd. So on the figure itself, he has punching hands. So they give you an extra set of fisted hands. I don't understand why they did that. So you get 5 sets of hands. And then you get the additional Batman hand from Hush, where he has the kryptonite ring. And then you get the alternate head sculpt. You only get one with Superman. It would have been nice if they would have included a Clark Kent head. But, you know, that's awesome. Anyhow, so just getting a look at this figure right out of the package. I just love it. Oh, love it. Oh, and they even put the yellow S on the back. Sometimes they don't do that. So pulling him right out of the package, they put this little plastic in between his torso so it doesn't scuff the paint, which I really appreciate. But I'm going to rip that out. And, I mean, my first impression of this figure is just joy. I love the choices that they made for this. The sculpt is great. It is truly fantastic. Wow, this is interesting here. Like, they really put a deep cut in his pecs between, like, right at the solar plexus where the first set of abs begin. And that's just like a really deep, detailed cut. And the paint kind of goes up in underneath. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera, but look at that. You can actually see some blue in between the crack, but that's interesting. I mean, look, I gotta talk about the paint. Like, they used a wonderful, nice sky blue, like a light blue, a light red, and I really appreciate that because they've been really going with like the dark blue, the really dark colors for Superman. So here's, for example, DC Icon Superman. And this is more of a 90s looking Superman. This is a classic 70s Christopher Reeve look, which I really like. It's very indicative of the 70s Superman costume, which I love. And man, just look at that face sculpt. That looks wonderful. While his eyebrows are actually painted blue, which I'm not sure if I like that so much. You can really see his blue eyes as well. Superman always has those baby blues. I guess it's nice sort of for a contrast, but if I shut the light off, yeah, so it looks a little bit darker, but when I put the light on, it really glows blue, his eyebrows. Also, the hair is shaded with the black and the blue, just like it would in the comic books. Anytime they want to show highlights in the hair in comics and the person his hair is black, they always use blue instead of a gray or a brown, which, I don't know, it's just something that they've always done. I never understood. This cape is really beautiful. Really beautiful. I mean, wow, just look at the sculpt. The sculpt looks wonderful. And I want to compare it with the Hush Batman. And you know what? I thought for a second there that the Hush Batman would be the same sculpt for the Superman, but it's not. Superman's torso is jacked. Like, he's got huge pecs compared to Batman. I don't know if you guys can see that. And his shoulders look even, they look jacked and bigger as well. That may be the same arm sculpts, but man, that looks great. So I really appreciate that. This is like, you know what? I think I'm going to have to say that this is the best Superman figure that anyone has ever made, honestly. Comic book version, hands down. I'm waiting for the Mezco 112 Collective Christopher Reeves. That should be coming any day now. Christopher Reeve Superman. But in terms of comic book Superman, I don't think I've ever seen a better looking Superman. I love the face sculpt because I love Jim Lee's artwork, and they really nailed that. I just love the colors that they used. I mean, the boots look good. There's the logo on the bottom there. Let's see. Come on, focus. There we go. Yeah, so you can see the Medicom toy on the bottom, made in China. Here is his back. Nice yellow belt, very traditional. Love the circle. Like I'm a purist. I love the classics. So the original costume design, I'm just always a fan of. Like the New 52 costume, I hated. I don't like the Rebirth. I love the fact that they have the red trunks. Like that, you know, Superman has got to have his superhero underwear. So, just beautiful. My only nitpick that I'm seeing upon first glance is Superman's cape is always a little fanned out, and you can see his traps and his collarbone. So he doesn't have a tight neckline on his costume. So I may even just paint this a flesh colored, or I may paint the flesh like of the traps here, just to alter it slightly, just give it a slight custom, like see on this figure here. And this is my second favorite comic book version Superman ever. This is the NECA version from the NECA Superman versus Alien. I love this guy too. He is incredible. He's just too big. That's my only complaint about this figure, is that he's too big. This is 7 inches. This guy is just about 6. So Mafex has that wonderful 6-inch scale, which I love. But see how you can see his traps and his neck. Like, this sculpt is phenomenal. Like, look at his neck, and you know, Superman should be showing off his traps. So this is a tight collared look, and that's the only tiny little nitpick I have about this figure. But let's look at the cape too. So look, they even sewed in the folds, like how Superman's cape folds out. So there's the nice wires too, so you can really pose the cape however you want. And just the cape is a nice texture. It looks like velvet. It doesn't feel that way, and it's even a shiny material on the back, as compared to the NECA Superman, where it's just I would compare this to like a red t-shirt cloth. This is a really nice shiny material. I hope this doesn't decompose over time and get really worn out looking, but just phenomenal. Let's go over the articulation. So head is on the traditional double ball joint. There's also a neck joint here. So we got 2 joints in the neck. So double ball joint on the top. Shoulders. Oh, look at that. Just, I mean, doesn't he look wonderful? And look at how jacked and great he looks. So shoulders go up that high. We got the butterfly joint in the upper shoulders and the pecs. So we can really get some good dynamic posing there. I mean, you could get him in his just classic Superman pose. Head actually does not go back very far, so it's kind of hindered by the hair. So that's a little bit disappointing, because Superman's head needs to go back when he's in the flying pose. Let's see, we got the torso crunch. Oh, that's a really heavy crunch, actually in the lower waist, as opposed to the diaphragm or solar plexus area. So we got side to side, but not much crunch there on the top. But we got as much crunch as you could possibly want at the hips. His underwear is a soft plastic. I guess, yeah. Oh, Batman's feels hard. So this is a hard plastic, and this is a soft rubber. So they chose to do that with Superman. Let's see, we got the double jointed elbows. So we have a really nice bend there. We got a cut in the bicep, tricep area. We got perfect rotation in the wrist, and then, tons of, we got a hinge there, so we can go any way you want in the wrist. Very nice, very nice. Let's check out the legs. So we can straddle about that far. So we got the drop down hinge, where we can push up into the underwear or pull down. Ooh, that scared me. Cracking noise. So the leg goes up about that high. And let's see, does it go back at all? It goes back a little bit. Just be careful, These nice imports, they're expensive, and sometimes they just break. Let's see what's going on in there. So it looks like we have just like a nice jointed system in his underwear. I don't know if you guys can see that. you can kind of look inside and see. Yeah, I don't think you guys can see that on camera, but anyhow, so he's got a lot of movement in the hips and in the waist. Just really nervous about this joint here. I'm just so afraid it's gonna snap. But got the double jointed knees, so for great posing. There is a thigh cut, like right at the top of the joint in the hip, so the thigh turns there. Let's see, we got in the boot, we got a hinge, we got pivot. See that? We got toe articulation, which is a tight toe as well. Very reminiscent of Marvel Legends Toy Biz. So it just looks wonderful. I mean, you can get some great poses out of this guy. He's just going to look fantastic for display. Fun to play with. You know, what a wonderful, wonderful Superman figure. Oh yeah, there's his butt. There's his butt and his back. Look at that nice strong back. Got his traps and his rhomboids and teres major and minor. Just very strong looking. Got his glutes, hamstrings, just look really good. I have a little bit of a nick right there on my guy, but that's okay. Not a big deal. Oh, and let's look at the symbol on the back. That looks good. They're just missing the tiny little details. There should be a little triangle at the S and a little triangle at the bottom there to have a perfect logo. But looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And let's get a look at his accessories. Show you guys some of his accessories. Let's get him on there. So, as I said, he has 5 sets of hands. We got the flat hands. Let's see if I can get that out. Yeah, so you can display him with his flat-handed pose. Oh, look at those fingernails, nice and sculpted in there, nice and small. Here is a grabby hand. So if he's grabbing something, I don't understand why they gave us. Okay, so they did give us an extra set of fisted hands, but it's just a little bit more open. I don't understand why. Maybe I'll actually put those fisted hands on instead. And let's take a look at here is the Batman Kryptonite ring. So actually we can swap that on to our Hush Batman. Pop that off. And now Bruce Wayne Batman has the Kryptonite ring. If Superman tries to mess with him, you can take him down. Very nice. It's awesome. So it's actually an accessory for Batman. But if you guys have never read Batman Hush, I mean, goodness, you have to read that comic book series. It's one of the best of all time, in my opinion. I love it. It's such a great story and great artwork. And here is the angry face Superman with the gritted teeth, and those look really good, if you guys can see that. And he also has the red eyes for the heat vision. I might actually put that head on him. Ooh, scary. Just always so scary with these figures and their fragility. And oh, that went on nice and easy. So you guys can see what he looks like with that head on instead. His very cranky, I'm going to melt you face. And what else do we have? We have Poison Ivy's accessory. This is a real soft, very soft plastic there. And I think that just kind of goes around like so. And you can put them on the forearms also. And, 'cause, oh, And that's what he looks like with that. And, oh, man down. Finally put that on him. There we go. So a nice mind-controlled Superman. Wonderful. And if you want to just like, you know, you can bend the cape out. You can I love these wire capes and the wire clothing that Mafex does. That's just so much fun for posing. And there you go. There is Superman Hush from the wonderful Jim Lee artwork. So there he is, guys. I highly recommend this figure. Get him now if you haven't already. He's dropping all over eBay. You can get him on Big Bad Toy Store. You can get them from various Japanese retailers. Plaza Japan, that's a good one as well. I've ordered some stuff off of there. And if you guys like the video, please like and subscribe. There will be more videos to come. Comment if you want. Hopefully nice stuff. And God bless you all. Peace.